Good morning and merry Boxing Day to everyone. What is it? Episode 39 of the Daily B Show with Matty B. Boom. We got Jade Benioni in the house. Jade has been my coach and mentor and confidant and champion and a whole array of different things for quite some time now. She's actually the cousin of my really, really close family friends, and we've come together in this explosion of awesomeness together recently, and working with her has been an absolute gift. And I just wanted to basically bring her on here and share her awesomeness with you guys and introduce you to her, because she has really been a catalyst for me being here and doing everything that I'm doing. Hello, Miss Benioni.
Hey, what's happening?
Oh, a whole lot. Everyone's just eating their food, celebrating the day after Christmas.
I know, right? It was good.
How about yourself?
Just out in the sunshine. Yeah, chilling.
Yeah.
Christmas was good. Yeah.
What'd you get up
I
to?
don't know how long I'm going to last without my sunglasses, because it's like I'm right directly in the sun. So
Yeah, put them on.
you've
Me
got
too.
yours on.
Put them on.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do
We look
that.
we look cooler with
Christmas was
those
good.
glasses on anyway.
Love it.
Yeah. What'd you get up to?
Just chilled with family. Cooked.
Yeah.
Cooked together. Ate together. Snoozed together. So yeah, it was good. It was good times.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I was just sharing that you've been my coach and mentor and confidant and champion, all sorts of things for the last
Oh,
um, last little while, and been one of the catalysts to help me push past a lot of my boundaries, really identify my some of the capacity that I had left untapped within me, and also just make sense of
mhm.
this crazy world that we live in. And I'm really, really grateful for obviously everything that we've done together and the impact that
Yep.
you've had on me. And yeah, just wanted to share your wisdom, your energy, your awesomeness with the guys in my network, and yeah, just spread more of the love, really.
For sure. No, yeah, happy to be on here. And just to talk. I know that when we talk, we have, we go to epic levels, and yeah,
Yeah,
like I'm honored to be a part of the Daily B Show. I love what you're doing here, and hearing all the different messages of all these different thought leaders and influencers around the world. So yeah, I'm happy to be
yeah,
a part of it.
awesome.
Awesome.
Thank
Let's
you for
do
being here.
that.
Let's rock and roll. Oh, I did not get a drink of water. Damn it. um,
Can you go and get one?
so Oh, look, there's some water around. Oh, there's a tap right here. If I could just whack the hose on if I really get too parched, I'll be right. So, tell me to start with, how did you get into coaching and what was your sort of journey that guided you into it to start with? We've got a freezer. Yep. All right. Well, maybe I'll get a drink while she's doing that, actually. Where did I go? Yeah, I don't know where you went. You might have to jump out of the live and jump back in, Jade. These things happen. So, the start of the year, well, maybe the start, probably over the next, yeah, sort of couple of weeks, I'm going to be add me back. I can't add you. It's not allowing me to add you. So um, either, oh, there we go. Boom.
I'm back. I don't know
Yes.
what happened there.
Oh, you got to love the technical
Yeah, I know, right?
diversity of Facebook Lives.
All right, we're back.
So I was just asking you to share a little bit about your journey that got you into coaching to start with,
Uh
and
huh.
yeah, your journey into this path.
Yeah, okay. Cool. So, my journey as a coach started uh, 2 and a bit years ago, when I began learning coaching in the, human behavior. And it really came about because I was doing network marketing. And whilst I loved it and loved the energy and the tribe and things, there was something that was knocking at me saying I wanted to help people where they wanted to be helped. And for me, network marketing didn't cover that, right? Because it was like one product. And
Mm-hmm.
and so I I took a step back from that, and then I just sort of waited and looked around and was trying to figure out how I could help people where they wanted to be helped. And
Yeah.
that's when I came across coaching, and I began at the Coaching Institute. And then 6 months into that, I started working with a full-time mentor and coach, and
Yeah.
learned a whole heap from there. And now here I am, doing what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I'm doing, working with people and helping them to be, to realize their potential. Yeah.
Yeah. And your new group and the project you've been basically running for a while now, Unearth Your Worth.
Mm-hmm.
What was some of the catalysts for you that really helped you discover that about yourself and unearthing your own worth?
Yeah, good question. So that Unearth Your Worth is actually the name of my business. So it's a registered business name in Australia. There's someone that's got it registered in the US, so we might need to chat one day when I go global.
Yeah, you will.
um, so yeah, look, the reason why I came up with that was because when as I said, I began working with a mentor and a coach. And every single time he would set a task, or we would discuss a task or something like that I would go out and do. It started off with like doing 3 Facebook Lives a week. Then it turned into doing my first workshop. Then it turned into or doing a webinar, or going out networking and pitching myself, or talking to people and doing sales conversations. Every single time I did something new, I would come up against this block. And it wasn't that I
Yep.
didn't know how to push the Facebook Live button. It wasn't that I didn't know how
Yep.
to set up Zoom for free and do the webinar and put together a PowerPoint. It was that something within me was going, oh shit. Am I allowed to swear on these things? I'm guessing yes, because there's going to be a lot. So I was coming up against myself constantly every time I would have to put myself out there. And so about a year and a bit after working with my coach and really starting to step out into my own thing, I wouldn't call it genius at this point. I was still learning, but I realized that, well, whatever I was doing to get where I was wanting to go, was I had to unearth something in me, and then I would see
Yeah.
the lesson in the gold, and then I would be able to move forward and help others where they want to be helped. So that's where Unearth Your Worth came from, because I truly believe that your inner world shapes your outer world. That's from my experience. Um,
Yeah.
and we have to do the work to figure out what that is.
What did you feel along that process were some of the major blocks within yourself and that was coming up from your journey and your past that um, were sort of some of the main turning points to overcome to figure out this about yourself?
Yeah, yep. That's a really good question. And it really does come back to, well, the universal fears. They're rampant, right? Whenever we try and start something new. So the fear of not being enough, that's the big one. The fear of not being worthy was the first one I ever worked through, and there was a lot of some strong identity around not being worthy and not being deserving of whatever it is. And the fear of being alone, right? So that in business, that's and doing things, that's all around, okay, if I do speak my truth, if I do put this webinar, this Facebook Live, this whatever it is, if I do put me out there, then everyone might just like throw lettuces and tomatoes and then scatter, and then they're gone, and then I'm left standing there alone. And that fear was coming from a place of, okay, I don't actually know how to back myself. I don't actually know how to stand in my own power. Like, what the fuck was that back then? Like, I don't know. And so a lot of that fear was just, a lot of the things that were happening were just patterns to keep me safe from actually being in a position where I'd ever have to stand alone and stand in my own truth,
Yeah.
stand in my, and me, really. That's an awesome question.
Yeah. Okay. And a lot of the time when we talk, it does come back down to our childhood and
Mm.
building up these sort of character traits or these ways of being and these behaviors that are here to really keep us safe and
Hmm.
really help us in those moments as children. But then as we evolve and grow into adults into this new world, they don't they no longer serve us and they do become these limiting beliefs. Can you sort of explain that and touch on that a little bit as well, just to give people a familiarity of what may be happening in their world around that?
Absolutely, Matt. Now, here's one thing I want to say up front on our time together, and thank you for everyone jumping on, is that it's really important for in this conversation that I embody what I'm saying, not just regurgitating right textbook and knowledge and stuff like that, because you know anyone can read a textbook or just watch information. So you'll see me close my eyes and just really feel into what I need to say, and it might not be on the mark of the question, but I trust that we'll get somewhere. Is that cool? We flow that way, Matt, because I just feel like
That's that's exactly the flow. Yeah, Jade. It's like we just trust that whatever comes up for us is what needs to come up for us, and whoever's on is going to get exactly what they need in the format that it gets delivered. So that's just full letting go and trusting in what happens. So absolutely, you're speaking our language.
beautiful. So I guess and and guide me here, Matt. But I'm
Yeah,
inspired to just share a little bit about where I came from, okay? Because you're asking
yeah,
me about my childhood. Is that okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
And I've done a lot of work not to. I've done a lot of work to really integrate and just love these parts that I'm speaking about. So
Mm,
I guess where I've come from is that I turned up in Aussie 10 years ago. So I've been in Melbourne 10 years ago. It's been fun. But I had to learn a lot. Um, so there, like I've lived on my, paid my own way since I was pretty much 15 years old. And, um, and I used to identify a lot around that, Matt, like a lot. Like I was independent. Yeah, you can't fuck with me. Yeah, I've got this all sorted out. However, a lot of work needed to be done around that because roles get created. Things get created from these identities that we put together and we tell our stories around. And so that was a big one for
yeah,
me when I used to be like, yeah, there was so much more emotion behind that story. I used to be like, oh, I moved, well, I started living on my own when I was 15 years old. I used to work, I used to go to school, I did all this, I'm Miss Independent. And there was such a hero behind that story and so much energy behind it. Um,
yeah,
but in order to build that business, the hero had to sort of die off because while it
yeah,
was useful, it had emotion behind it. It had pain behind it. It had not being loved behind it. And this is what we've got to look at. It's like we've just got to look at ourselves and love all these different parts of ourselves because there are things that do happen in our earlier years that do create emotion and feeling and pain behind what who we are now. And so, to give you context, if I had have kept identifying with that 15-year-old version of me who was hard, who was independent, yeah, I would have kept going while I'm now 30, just banging out the work. Because for anyone that knows me, the last couple of years I've been trying to balance, because I've got no problem in doing the work. But in order to really create a business and flow, it's about being able to love myself and go all the time is just burning out. And that's where, um, this hero part of me sort of really kicked in. And while it's useful, it's not useful
yeah,
all the time. So
yeah,
I'm happy with that explanation. I trust that serves.
yeah. 100%. No, it really does. And I remember meeting you a while back when you were still in that space, and we butted heads because I was in my space of um, just that don't give a fuck about too much, party, have fun, and covering up my um, I guess fears of not being loved and not belonging. And so when was it say like a movable force meets a powerful force. It's just, yeah, it was an interesting interaction that we had at that time, and then to come together again full circle and then do the work that we've done together, it has been just a beautiful testament to the transformation that's possible with the people. And it's a really good
for sure.
depiction of that for me. We've got a question from one of the girls,
I
Valerie.
saw
After
that.
discovering your blocks, yeah, how did you get over it?
So to 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 get over it, and I'm gonna and I like is she's
In
added
your own
more.
way.
Is it loving it, expressing the pain? What's banging out the work? What did you do to stop burning out? Okay. All right, Valerie, that's an awesome question. So we do the work. We do the work internally. Now I'm in a bit of a space where I'm going to touch on some of my new work that's coming into 2019, and also what I have done to overcome this. So I do believe you need to be aware of it. You need to do the work to become aware of the pieces of you that are still hurting, of the pieces of you that never got a voice. And you can do this in many different forms. You can work with a coach, you can work with a mentor, you can watch something and it inspires you, and then you can just sit there and explore that for yourself. And then you can use techniques to overcome, right? To overcome or integrate these parts of you. Essentially, it's just about becoming aware of them and then listening to them. Whenever I find a part, it's like, for example, the 15-year-old version of myself, that part was just, she looked like a tomboy, but she was angry and she felt like she had to do everything and nothing came for free. And imagine meeting that part. What do I do to, what was the words? To get over
Stop
that?
burning out.
Yeah, or stop burning out. It's like that part of me would have just kept going because it's in my identity if I didn't stop and love her, not get over it. There's nothing to get over,
Yeah.
right? It's about sitting down with that part and just loving it. Not trying to get it
That's
to
a
go anywhere, not trying to fuck it off because it's been a nuisance. It's about just being with it, loving it, and if it wants to come along on the ride and add, because it does have value, it's you. So it's like you want to cut off your hand or something. No, we want to embrace, the scars on
yeah.
that hand. We want to embrace the broken fingers and the broken bones. And if you want to come along, we'll go at that pace, right? But we'll go together so that we're stronger together. When we try and, I heard a quote from David Goggins, when we try and love ourselves, but we got shit under the mat that we don't want to look at, we're not loving ourselves. How can we be? Yeah, how can we fully be loving ourselves when there's with stuff we're keeping in the closet or underneath the mat? So it's about bringing all of us together and moving forward. Yeah, good question.
Fucking boom. That's awesome. And I think that is such a massive misconception for people out there that are unfulfilled or are in pain or do have troubles and do have challenges, is that they hear these terms like transformation and breakthroughs and overcoming and all these things in it, and it's almost, or from my experience, it was before understanding this, it was like there was this stigma of it needs to go, it needs to disappear, it needs to be let go of. You recognize that the memories never go away, those experiences never go away, but the way we define them do gets transformed into love and into gratitude. And so when we're able to transform that, that's when that healing, and that's when we're able to, like I said, embrace every part of it and use it as our gift and not as our curse anymore. Yeah.
Absolutely. And am I able to just add something on what you just said? 3 words just stuck up to me,
Yeah, of
and
course.
I feel inspired to share on that and expand it further. Hey, Karina.
Yeah, please.
So memories never go away and transform. Those 4 words, memories never go away. 5. And they just stuck out to me, and I thought I would want to share on this.
Yeah, please.
So this is a big part of my work in 2019, and it's new territory, and but I want to start to just tippy toe in here in this space that you've created, Matt, because I think it's aligning,
Yeah.
and I'm getting inspired
Absolutely.
to do it. So memories are always present. I wouldn't say they never go away, but we have the ability through simply loving ourselves and choosing to be at cause. Yeah. What I mean by that is to hold the power in all situations, big or small, right? That whatever memory, because simply when we're out doing what we're doing, all that comes up is a memory in some way, shape, or form. It's a conditioning, it's a belief, it's a something which is formed by a memory. Otherwise, it wouldn't come up, right? So the memories are always going to be there, but we can break them down. We can clear them. And this is something you don't need a coach for, right? You can just simply sit here and say, I love you. Yeah, I love you. And this is a part of my teachings, and you might have heard me speaking about it for those of you on my page about the ho'oponopono. It's a very ancient technique, a Hawaiian technique, and it really resonates in with my culture, the Māori culture in New Zealand, and all Pacific cultures, where it's just about coming back to source, coming back to zero, coming back to your ancestors, coming back to peace. And you can sit out here and just, whenever a memory comes up that's really starting to shake, rattle, and roll your world, yeah, the memories are always going to come up. They're going to get in your way when you most need to move. However, you have the power to take a moment out and to say I love you, to say I'm sorry, to say I forgive you, to say thank you, and to move on. And what that does is it clears that energy out. So this is something epic I'm learning and becoming a practitioner around. And it's just, I've been doing it for the last 7 days, and just the calmness in my world has been phenomenal. And you're actually not just, you're taking responsibility when you're at cause. You're saying, yeah, I'm responsible for me, but I'm also responsible for everyone. So when you clear it from you, you clear it from others, right? So that's why I was so inspired to just share that little snippet, because we're here talking about the transformation of memories, the transformation of parts of ourselves. And that's what I'm doing right now on this live. Every time I close my eyes, I'm clearing that out, sort of thing, to a degree. So yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you can feel it too. You can feel that sense of calmness and gratitude and acceptance coming through your voice as well, and through the phone. So one thing I wanted to ask on was about forgiveness, which what resonated with me when it was put to me this way is that there isn't anything to forgive. In forgiveness, it makes out like there was something that went wrong, or someone needs forgiving for something that went wrong, and it's actually more so about, like you said, transforming that experience and that definition of what happened into love and gratitude and acceptance and appreciation, and getting the learning from that. And so there's not actually ever anything to forgive. There's just things to transform from a lopsided perspective of fear, doubt, hate, anger, whatever it may be, into love, gratitude, and appreciation. Would you conform to that, or how does that sit with you?
Yeah, okay, let's answer that. Okay, this is good. And I trust you guys are digging this. This is a really deep conversation. And what I'm going to say is that when you're talking about forgiveness, you're talking about it from a physical perspective, right? So like someone did something, and or something happen in this physical world, and is it that context? Is that where you were jumping off from? Because then I can.
Well, it's from all of the above because I know a lot of people feel like they need to forgive themselves. Some people feel like they need to forgive those around them. So, um, yeah, from all perspectives, really.
Okay, cool. What I would say is, again, because the Pandora's box is unlocked in my mind on what I'm learning now and bringing into 2019. I'm standing in two places and delivering this.
Yeah,
So what I believe
cool.
is that we want to rise above the physical world, and I mean, I believe that we have three worlds. You know, our higher world, our inner world, and our physical world. And most of the stuff that we're looking around, like forgiveness around, it's typically, and I know that you've added some more in there, Matt. Typically between physical humans, right? Two people, something's gone
Yes.
wrong, or a situation didn't turn out too well, and then now we have to deal with that in some way. Do we forgive? Do we forget? Do we love? Do we accept? Do we blah? I'm just gonna say, when I heard you asking that question, all I could see was me floating above, right? We need to float above and realize that these are all just memories. These are, as you said, interpretations of what that event is. Any coach will know, and I'm going to unpack this a little bit, that the map is just a territory. You could be in a situation and it goes pear-shaped, but that's just because your map was different to theirs, right? How you see the world is different to how they see the world, and just fuck, it was a miscommunication. Do you know what I mean? So in any situation, whether it's like intended or a miscommunication, or it was genuine, like hurt done to you, right? I reckon we need to learn as a people how to rise above, because my whole mission is that we're living in the physical world a little bit too much. And I get that it's like a bit woo-woo to go, oh, right, so where you want us to go and live. Well, I just want to try and make the link between all three, that you're more than just the body, you're more than just, the other people around you, the other bodies walking around you. We are connected to all three. And my teaching is around trying to make that link a bit more pragmatic and,
Yeah.
less stars in your eyes
Woo
sort of
woo.
thing, because woo-woo, because I realize that there's a bunch of people out there that are open to spirituality, and then there's a bunch of people that aren't, and I reckon everyone's entitled to this. So on forgiveness, those four words that I was saying before, and I think Tony dropped them down there inside of the chat, which is I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. The way that I have learned it is that when we rise above, we're saying I love you, because that's the strongest thing that grounds us to our ancestors, to the sky, to the stars, to the whatever. That's the strongest thing. I love, because everything is love, right? And that's the highest thing in the world, love. And then when we say I'm sorry, people might be like, what the fuck are you saying I'm sorry for? It's saying I'm sorry in this physical space, that I forgot for a split second that I was a part of all this, that I had three worlds. I'm sorry. It's about just that repentance, yeah? And letting the weight go, because then when we repent, we can just go, fuck the judgment. We don't need it. We don't need to bother, trying to make sense of it and who to forgive and all the rest of it. We're now having a conversation with something a little bit higher than, what's the ants on the physical world. So we're going, I'm sorry. I forgot that I was a part of all this. And then the forgiveness part, Matt, where we rise above is, you know what? Please, I forgive you, because you are a part of all that. You've got the power to say, I forgive you. I forgive you. Um, yeah, you're sorry for forgetting for a split second. All good. Forgive you, because this is what we're a part of. And then the thank you part is the gratitude that we experience for just like, you know what? I've said my piece. I've forgiven. I've had this conversation, and now thank you. Let's move on. Let's clear, and that clears stuff out. And so that's where I think we need to be when we look at forgiveness, is rising above it. Yeah, because
Mm.
we're constantly looking at the physical space, and when all we're doing is looking back at memories, more memories, more memories, more
Mm.
conditioning, more beliefs. That's it. And I mean, we could choose to forgive, and it won't mean, it
Yeah.
might not even do anything for that other person. That's not the point. But come back to love. Yeah, that's what I think.
So I'm hearing that it is more about the intent and the energy that it holds, other than the logical, rational meanings behind the words that are being said, but more so the intent and energy we hold when directing it outwardly or inwardly. And it's sort of this stairway to heaven, or this stairway as we move um, up and above, and rising above.
Our intent
Yeah,
should be to take responsibility for ourselves. So if you think that there's, oh, here's one here, okay, here it is. If you think there's anything to forgive it in yourself.
yeah,
If there's
yeah.
something
Boom.
physical that there's no way you can change another person. What are we trying to forgive them for? What are we trying to decide between forgiveness and forgetting, or fuck you, or whatever? Like, what are we doing? let's just let's just come inside and forgive within, because then we're clearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we clear it for others.
I was having a conversation with some friends the other day, and one of the things that came up, which I thought was really interesting, and it was a really um, imaginative and great way of putting it. That was, what if you imagined that you were the only ego and identity in the world by yourself, and everyone else was God around you? Everything and everyone else was God around you. And so the way that you looked at everyone and everything around you was like that it's all God helping you on your growth and on your journey of evolution, and everything he's doing is on purpose and in harmony, and conspiring to help you grow. And so meeting everyone around you with that point of view, you've only got yourself to look at. Like, there's no place to judge other people as individuals, or other experiences as individual things that have happened. But it turned for me, when we spoke about that, it was like this instant turning the focus inwards at what I was looking at. And I thought that was a great sort of image to paint for people when explaining this, taking full responsibility for themselves, and turning inwards. Because I've found a lot of the time with people that haven't been taken through that process before, or it's a new concept to, it takes a lot to, it's a big pill to swallow a lot of the time. But I thought that was an interesting way of putting it. Do you have some way that you've been able to really clearly identify with your clients and with people that you work with that haven't experienced and haven't gone through that concept before, of taking full responsibility, and a way that you've been able to communicate it clearly to them that's been really effective? And what do you think of that one that I just mentioned too?
So that's a lot. Okay, so how have I helped clients take or grasp the concept of responsibility?
Yeah,
And all right, so here's one for you, Matt Banks. Let's just keep this real short, sharp, and simple. You know, when you walk into a room, you get a vibe from someone, right?
yep,
Maybe those times where you get a vibe from someone, or you walk into a room and maybe there's just been a bit of a discussion going on, and you sense that energy. Yeah? Have you ever had that?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I try and create it. Well, I do create it,
Every,
but you feel
every
everyone.
single, yeah, every single person knows what the hell is going on. People know when they're not taking responsibility. Everyone's whole and complete, just as much as they know what to do, right? They know what they're not doing.
Hmm.
And I mean, Matt, to be perfectly honest, I'm an infant in my journey. Like, these topics of wisdom, and that I'm learning, right? I'm learning, and I when it comes to helping other people, that's another one of the parts where I'm like, one foot's over here now, and the other part's what I used to do.
Yeah,
It's really understanding that people don't really need to be helped because they know what the hell to do. And I know that's interesting as a coach to say that, because that's probably what I get paid for, right? But it's true. And it's about helping people tap into that knowing. And how we're going to do that is unfolding. That will unfold in 2019. But what I've done in the past is just been the example. Like if someone's not taking responsibility, and they're wanting that, it's about standards, I would say.
Miss Guzzi. Yeah,
Holding standards. Yeah, that's
yeah,
been, and that's not an easy thing to do, especially when it's two humans. Because I think I know. I think what's coming back to me about what you mentioned before you asked the question, it's all tying in. But standards are a very important part of working with other people because uh, they're actually, they help you form like boundaries, right? So standards.
yeah,
So if someone's wanting to work with you and take responsibility and grow their business, you you have to put in place those standards and you have to honor them as the coach. So if someone's mucking about, you have to call that, and it's not something that you
yeah,
do up front. It's something that you learn. Yeah, you got to not do it a few times, and you've got to learn from that, and you've got to handle that the best way you know how. And don't forget that we're both, that we're human at the end of the day. Um, and then you just got to keep doing. So yeah.
yeah.
Now hold on, Matt. You asked me, you shared something with me, and then you asked me what are my thoughts on that. Um, Let me just think for a moment. I think we can move on, and then I will come back to me if I'm trying hard to figure it out. Then, yeah, is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
absolutely. Keep the good times rolling, stay in flow.
Mhm.
Um, so you, one of the things that you mentioned before we jumped on was that you're of the opinion that anybody and everybody can be, do, and have everything they wanted.
Yeah.
Share that with me. Share that with everyone.
Well, seriously, if I can, anyone can. That's how I created the belief. I
Yeah,
mean, uh, I grew up in a little town in New Zealand, Cambridge, and there was my mum and my two brothers, and I had an older sister, but she was taking care of herself and things like that. And mate, like I used to get my school uniform out of this lost property. I used to, I have been suspended, expelled, stood down from every level of high school and intermediate, and yet had the people being like the headmasters and stuff being like, "What the hell? Like, you're so like you could be." I literally had one of the deputy headmasters say to me, "Jade, you could be a lawyer. You could be anything you wanted to. Why are you doing this?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm fucking 13. What are you asking me for?" You know what I mean? So you
yeah,
have to live that life. And then like came to Melbourne and just like growing up in New Zealand. One of the reasons why, even though I was so young, I wanted to come over here was because all I did see was drinking. Yeah, drinking, and that was not no judgment or whatever, but I just something inside of me was like, that's not for me. Do you know what I mean? But I continued to do it for like another 6 years. But I came to Australia because I wanted more opportunity. I actually got this. I wanted more opportunity, and I had a sense of what I wanted to do. I got this tattoo when I was like maybe 17, I think. And the reason why I got
okay.
it is I put it on my wrist so I would never work in corporate. Oh my
Really?
goodness. So I had a fair idea of like what I wanted to do. And I thought if I put a tattoo
And
on my
not do.
hand, yeah, and funnily enough, I've ended up in the corporate space, and I'm, fucking killing it. But so that didn't work so well. But you know, that's coming to an end and all the rest of it. But I just thought it was funny about like you can do and be anything you want, because if I look at my life,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that I was hard out traumatized or anything as a child, because I've got my own levels of stuff, right? Everyone does. But nothing was handed on a platter either, right? Never
yeah,
borrowed a cent from a parents and all the rest of it, all of that stuff. Just to give you context, it's not to really
yeah,
any much more than that. But you can make
yeah,
this if you decide. If you decide, yeah,
yeah.
you can
100%.
have, do, and be anything.
And it's crazy. was talking again to a few friends about the medical system in Australia, how it's solely focused on getting people from unhealthy to neutral, but then there's very little spent or effort put into helping people go from neutral to thriving. And so I feel that because that's the sort of culture we're brought up in, that's where people get to that sort of neutral point, dreaming big and having this mentality and this social stigma of the tall poppy syndrome. It's bred into us not to dream big. In my case, anyway, it was bred into me not to dream big and to just think realistically and to play small basically and cover up my gifts and cover up my true potential. And it's been a process of ripping out all the shit that has been covering up that and allow myself to step out, sort of full circle what you started talking about at the start of the chat, where it was just a process of really stepping out from behind our own insecurities to expose our core and our gifts to the world.
And I love that you talked about. That's a really good song. I don't know if you can hear it, but you talked about tall poppy. And I don't, you know what, Matt, I know you made a mention about the medical industry at the start of your comment, and I just don't even want to go there. It's so fucking controversial. Like, let's not bore ourselves with all that, right? Because people, again, are coming from memories like this, that. I reckon we've got a really cool vibe going on where we're at. So what I'm going to speak on is that you mentioned about tall poppy syndrome and having to, choosing to bury the genius, the inspiration that was within you, and that it was really hard. And I'm just going to say, when you were speaking that, just little flickers of like what of my growth came up for a moment there, and it was actually the opposite. So and yet both paths led to the same place. So what I mean by that is that you may have experienced tall poppy and, you know, being shut down for the ideas that you had, right? Let me tell you right now, people, the shutdown happens whether or not you do share them anyway or you don't. And you have to do that work. You have to do that inner work. So for me, I remember quite clearly, I don't give a fuck. I will talk about my dreams, my fables, what I'm going to do. I'll even dabble in them. I don't care if I make a mistake. Like, I remember going to university and then dropping out of that class and then doing another one. And then me and my cousin decided we were going to move to England, so I dropped out of that degree. And then we didn't even go to England, and I was like, fuck, whoops. And then, you know, it's just like these fables and these ideas and just being so passionate about things. Obviously, I have to as I've healed, I've been able to make, you know, better decisions, but with a bit of logic, not just emotion, goodness. But even when you are loud and proud about your ideas and your genius, people still, you know, people have still got their own memories, and they're gonna play out on you any which way. So, you know, I resonate with both. Like, I resonate that if you've got something inside of you to share and it's not being shared because of out of fear of what might be said or anything, that sucks, man. And you've got to find a way to just dabble in putting your toe in the water and trying it out for you, because it's your life. You know what I mean? Like, it's your life. No one's paying your bills. No one's going to come up with ideas for you. You have to do that for yourself. And then on the same token, when you're loud and proud about your stuff, you've got to, and people are like, really? Like, you're going to do that? Okay. It's like, yeah, really. So what I'm trying to say is that in both aspects, you've got to learn first how to back yourself, even just a little bit. And then you want to learn how to, you know, get out there and do what you need to do. Because each of us has something that we came here to do. And we need to do that. And no one else is going to do it for you. That's why, and we have to do the work to overcome the what ifs, the judgments. Oh, they're going to look at me this way. Because if you know, no one else is going to do what you came here to do. They've got their own thing going on. And first, before anything, we need to be able to tap into it.
And I love that you say that, it doesn't matter if you if you put yourself out there or not, the judgment, the haters, that it's going to be there anyway. And the fact that, well, there's a lot of people that I speak to these days that aren't in action because of the judgment, and they hold themselves back because of the potential of that happening. But when you recognize that whether I do or whether I don't, they're going to be there, well, then you may as well just do it. And it is sort of a liberating feeling and understanding to get to that point. But I
Absolutely.
want to,
Hmm.
yeah, I want to ask about you've sort of pressed on a few points where I guess people that haven't had coaching before or aren't aware of what coaches do, what their idea of what a coach does may have been shattered a little bit by some of the things that we've been chatting about. So can you be the example and show how you have how you've unearthed your worth and express in your own words what you do and how you do it?
Cool. All right. So that's a big question, and so I'm going to answer it. It's a high level question, so I'm going to answer it high level with a concept that I've come up with. You were talking about people not doing things because out of fear of what they might think other people will say about them, or etc. etc. And this concept that I created came to mind. There are obviously there are two levels. Up here is your conscious, what you're aware of, and then below is your unconscious. Now, in the conscious, there is something. This is what I call the police, and they're there to conform, or like to what you call it, like protect and serve. And these police come in the form of safe problems. So they're there to ensure that everything remains intact. Yeah. So whenever we try and go close to something that might be a little bit sweaty or risky, right? Scary for us, makes your ass sweat. Yeah, I say that. Whenever we touch on something, it's like the patterns start kicking in, and this is the police with their batons going, go back. Yeah, this is the mind going, you're gonna be unsafe. Get back.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because below in the subconscious, are what I call shame cells. These cells, right? And they've got the parts of us that are locked up in these cells that should not come out. So we say. So the patterns are there, and we run these safe problems, right? And we're so busy solving these safe problems. They take up weeks, yeah, to solve these safe things, so that we don't dare go near what will burn. Because if we do, that means we've made it down to a level and we can see into the subconscious the parts of us that are like, it's not just risky anymore. It's like if we solve a risky problem or a problem that makes us sweat, we go deeper, and it exposes what's in the shame cells, and there's havoc down there. We've got patterns set up to not go there, and so the way to go down there is to love. That's the only way, is to send that love down. Whether you
Yeah.
find it and you sit with it, or you just sit in the sun and you haven't even found a part yet, and you just want to say, I love you, thank you, all of that, you're sending love down so that you can free that party, not free it, but just integrate it, free it, have a party with it, whatever, and then you get more inspiration. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I trust that serves. Did it serve Matt Banks?
It
I'm just going on
definitely
little
served Matt
tangents.
Banks, and no, it did. I think I'm a very visual person as well, so um, I can see it all as well, and especially because like yourself, like I've really embraced being the example. And
Mm.
when I hear people struggle with something, I try and find that shame cell that was within me and expose it for people as the example of how to love it, and get out of my own comfort zone every day, do what makes my arsehole sweat, and find those conversations or those activities that really make me uncomfortable, to go and push and really challenge those comfort zone police and learn, because every time I do, it does expose another shame cell that was hidden within, and every day it's a new one, like it's never ending. But that's where I find the momentum is. As soon as I sit on my laurels in my comfort zone and don't do that, I recognize momentum shift. There's a shift in momentum. But as soon as I'm maintaining that real self-awareness of challenging those comfort zone police and continuously exposing more of those shame cells and sharing them with people and showing them how I can transform that into love and acceptance and have a party with it. It's an amazing process to be going through, and yeah, it does sort of answer that question as well about what coaches do. Is like, for me, it really is just setting the example and creating a space for people to do just that for themselves as well. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yep, it is. And so, Matt, while you've been talking, I'm getting inspired, and some of the ladies are dropping questions down here, and I'm getting sweaty. Not because it's 31 degrees, but because there's something pounding in my heart, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna open up and speak about a little bit more about what I'm doing, because Valerie's asking, so the police come and then you say I love you and keep going. Am I okay to share a little bit more about the clearing process?
Yeah, look, Jade, this is a space for you to do and have everything that you want as well. So you are more than welcome to share anything that comes up, and I want to implore you as well to, towards the end, before we jump off, to also share exactly what you're doing in 2019 and reach out to anyone that resonates with you that might want to work with you as well, and share what you're doing. So yeah, this is your space. I've created this for you and for everyone and for everyone else that is here with us as well to be a part of. So please, yeah, be my guest.
So, thank you, Matt Banks. You're a beautiful soul, all right? Now, there's curiosity. Now, Matt knows me. Curiosity just starts everything, right? When curiosity takes over, that's it. And that's how it should be. And so there is some curiosity on this live here about, I can tell you're trying to make sense of what I'm saying about this clearing process.
Yeah.
Now, it is absolutely mind-blowing. And so I've sort of sat here while Matt's talking, I felt the inspiration, and this is what I want to share with you. We are either operating from a space of something remembered or something inspired, right? And Matt also mentioned at the start that imagine if there was a space where we were the only one, and we saw our brothers and our sisters as everything godlike. And that's what we would call zero, nothing, right? That's where we came from, right? Source, God, ancestors, yeah, whatever you want to call it, Tupuna, Tiao, and my, just nothing, right? So we're connected this way, we're truly family. And then the two other states of mind, so that's zero, and then we're either coming from a place of inspiration, which is coming straight down from God, source, wherever, or we're coming from a place of replaying our memories. So we're acting from and this is how I translate it. Our higher world is like zero. Our inner world is, our inspiration, or the inspiration, and then the remembered, or where the memories just play over and over again, is in the physical world. It's already been made. And so whenever we're coming from a place of, or living from a place of memory, then we're not in inspiration. We're not getting those messages from the divine source, wherever, from a higher being. We're getting it from what's in our memory bank. And
Yeah.
that's conditioned, and that's, you know, it might not be pure. So the aim is that we want to, when we're on our journey to creating our business, creating our career, creating our life, is we want to be an inspiration as much as we can. How do we do that? We clear, but we don't just clear for ourselves. It's no more, is it a game of, oh, I'm going to do this so I can get that. It's, I'm going to do this so, because this is what I'm taking responsibility for. If something shows up and it's sweaty, or there's a problem, we take responsibility for clearing that. I love you, thank you. Yeah, because we're not just clearing it for, like, when I'm speaking about this, and I've been saying this over and over in my head, I'm not just saying this because for me, I'm saying it for all of us, right? And when I learned Ho'oponopono, I was so fucking inspired. I had to. This was it. This is where I'm into sort of frame of minds when you ask me about what I've done previously and what I'm doing now. They're quite different. And so and someone mentioned about Dr. E. Haleakala, who taught this concept. When he spoke this, and this is where I was like, thank you. He said, people will try and teach this, ho'oponopono, but don't teach it if you're not inspired. And I said, well, fuck, I'm so inspired, so I'm good to go. You know what I mean? That's my permission. My permission was the butterflies, the fact that I went through the practitioner training like twice, bang, bang, and sitting the exam, like, and being using it, not just learning it, but embodying it. That's my inspiration. And so when I sat here and everyone's asking questions and Matt's tapping on this and that, I'm like, I gave myself permission. Because I know I'm not coming from a space of this is just another cool technique that I'm going to share because I want to make some money. I actually don't give a shit about that. I care about this work a lot. And so this is where I'm going to start to speak about it. And this is what I'm trying to get at, guys. We learn so much stuff and we have knowledge, but it comes from memory. We want to clear those and be inspired, right? Present enough to be inspired to do something, because that's going to take us where we need to go. Because living from memory is trying to work out the how. We're like, okay, what filing cabinet do we go on today? This is what we do. We go, oh, we want more of that thing we had last year, that person we had last month, that sales conversation we had the other day. We want more of that. It's just a memory, but we're blocking ourselves off to the inspiration. And this is why we need to clear. And it's so much deeper than that, because people talk of, okay, this is where I'm in two spaces. Coaches and consultants and people, you know, the funniest thing, I had a statement where I said I wanted to help people where they wanted to be helped. And now I'm in a space of, who said they need to be helped?
Yes.
Like, who?
Okay.
Is it my memory? Is it because I needed to be helped? So this is getting rocky and wavy, but I reckon this is what I came here to do. Like, is to go into this space, and it's very dangerous because I'm a coach and this is what I do. I help people, but coming
What's the
from
alternative
the place,
to helping someone?
help yourself.
Yeah.
Love yourself. Everything's connected, Matt. Everything is connected.
Yes.
And if I see a problem, or if a client sits down with me and says, oh, this is where I'm stuck, well, let me clear on myself.
Yes.
The client already knows. They're whole and complete. Yeah? Does it qualify me that I just read a few more books and studied for a couple of years? Like, that they sort of know less than me? No. No. Because, no. It's the being. It is the being. Who we're being in business. It's our energy. It's not this knowledge stuff.
Yeah.
You take when we're acting from inspiration, Matt, we get the knowledge we get the wisdom. That's the difference. Inspiration creates wisdom. Memory creates knowledge. So when we regurgitate knowledge, which is what I did for like the first year and a half of my coaching journey, right? flip to page 76, it's 7:30, I need to do a live. Blech. Now it's more about, okay, we're in the genius. We've got to create
Yeah.
this wisdom. And we do that by going, let's sit in inspiration, find out what we need to find out, listen to where we got to go.
Yep.
And then when we learn that thing, I learned Ho'oponopono, when we learn that thing, that's it. Like, it's wisdom, it's straight in here. And then when we say it, it's like bang. When I learned Ho'oponopono was it was this whole practitioner training. I didn't take notes once. I just put my phone up and I just listen.
Yeah, you
and now here
taught me that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the first time I've really done it, Matt. Really, really done it. Like, I was just listening because the trainer, the doctor, my bad, Dr. Ihale Akala, who was the therapist who, cured this ward of criminally insane patients. And then Joe Vitale from The Secret was just like, bullshit. And then he went and found him after being told about it. This doctor, Hawaiian doctor, when he spoke, it's wisdom. And you don't need a fucking notepad for wisdom. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it speaks to your heart. Yeah. So that's why I was just like, like just with my popcorn and my grapes. And I'm like, just tell me more, teach me more. It was going straight into my cells. And I was just like, I've got to teach this. Like, this is my mission.
Yeah.
And so this mission is about, you take full responsibility for yourself. Like, yeah, you got to do things with clients. There are techniques and stuff that I will teach with clients, like about identifying the police and the risky problems and the safe problems and all of that. But ultimately, whatever comes up, I need to do my thing. I need to do it within myself as well. It's not just the client coming that's got a problem. If we got a problem, we got a problem. That's how it is.
Yeah.
If we got a problem, because it must be my problem because I'm always there.
Yeah, it's in front of me right here.
It's in front of me right here, so let's clean it up together. And we do, and we're helping the greater consciousness,
collective,
cosmos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's beautiful. Actually, I've got a book I'm about to release which touches sort of on this process of, and it was just came to me one day where I felt this inspiration genius come through me. I recognized my mind remembering all the shit why it won't work and potential hazards and things that might fuck up. And then I saw myself see that and observe that, and I recognized, I just said, fuck that, I'm going to go do it anyway. And so it's basically this 3-step process, and the book's called Get Fucked and Do It Anyway Method. The Get Fucked and Do It Anyway Method. And it is really just identifying that in the moment, that inspiration, that genius comes through, and to identify that, we do have that remembering that's going to come up from time to time. It is going to be there, and that we do have stuff that we know, but just being able to separate those two and really harness that genius when it comes through me has been a catalyst once I recognized that as well. So that was pretty cool.
That's so cool. Get fucked and do it anyway. I think it's playful. I see the playful playfulness in it. Like, fuck off. Another memory, another conditioning. Because one of the things I love, and I love that Matt Banks, and of course you're putting out a book, fucking ripper. Love it. When I learned Ho'oponopono and decided this is what I'm integrating into my work, it's not that something that I'll teach. It's not something that I'll teach. It's something that I'll be. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
But clients and people get the benefit, and the world will get the benefit of it. So what I'm hearing from your book and from what you're saying is it's exactly that. Like, the memory comes up, which is the belief or the conditioning or the thing that says I can't, or creates the doubt, creates the sweat. And then we spend so long trying to get unsweaty, solving these safe problems. It's just like, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? No.
Yeah.
Just do it. And that's one of my things with coaching, is that with therapy, if and this is directly what I've been taught, you know. But when the coach or whatever believes that it's just the other person that's got the problem, it's going to take so much longer to heal. Because then we do what? We go, okay, now we've found it. We can see where the police are. They're trying to make you do or, you know, you're trying to do this safe thing instead of this risky thing. Now, what is it? Find it. What are we doing? Heal it. Technique. Just clear it. Let's just clear that shit together. Yeah?
Yeah.
My ancestors have been practicing this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Your ancestors have.
There's probably something in it.
Exactly. Oh, what? We just thought we got smarter because we got some technology? The fucking very thing that's, you know, that's all bringing us together, it reckons, but at the same time pulling us apart? No, like we've been, like this is a practice. This is why I'm so passionate about it, because I'm like, oh, this shit makes sense. We need to get back to this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love your book, and I was listening to you speak about it. It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
let's just get on.
Just cut out a bit.
Oh, yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah, cool. I missed what you just said there. So you're saying you love the book, was the last thing I heard.
Yeah, I was just tuning into your intention behind the book. Yeah, if seeing where it was come from, and it was very playful. It was just like, it was Matt Banks. Like, you know, just that funniness about it. Yeah, just like that playfulness about knowing how to just do that thing anyway. You know, just fuck it, do it.
Yeah,
I love it.
100%. It is. And I think one of the catalysts for me in that was also just really understanding that notion that there's something like 60 to 80,000 thoughts every single day that comes through our mind. And that when we try and rationalize and make a decision, we maybe pluck 5 or 10 or even 20, if we're really deep thinkers, bits of information in our thoughts to make a decision. And then we finally come up with this grand decision. We're like, yes, that's the right decision to do. And it's like, you've just analyzed tiny snippets of the corners of the thoughts that are running through your mind with all this logic. It's illogical to think we can make logical decisions almost. And so that's really been a catalyst to help me drop from my head down into my heart, really feel, open up and expose my intuition and that guidance and that knowledge that just comes through you, that knowing. And it's fun. And so I don't give thoughts the same weight and the same priority as what I used to. A thought doesn't come in and like, I've got to grasp onto this thing that made me feel this way and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, well, it's like sitting on a freeway and just watching all the cars go past. Like there's all types of cars, big ones, small ones, little ones, fat ones. And you just don't give one car more weight than the other one. Same with the thoughts. It's like, oh, well, there's a shit thought, there's a good one, there's a funny one, there's this one. And they're just flowing in and out. And that's really helped me just be able to let go of that attachment to what's going on up here and really just like drop down and feel and just be guided. And I've been using the Elton John song lately, just like a candle in the wind. It's literally like, I think I'm going down this path here, and then I'm like, okay, this path looks fun, and then, oh, I bumped off, I'm going this one now, oh, I didn't realize this was going to happen, now I'm going down this way. And it is literally is just like a candle floating in the wind. It's blissful, really. It's really blissful. It's exciting, it's adventurous. Yeah, it's really fucking cool. Just like these conversations, that's why we started like, well, we're not having any structure, we're just going to flow like a candle.
Yeah, exactly. We must. Now, Maddie, let me open up this. We've got time?
We got all the time in the world.
Oh, sweet as. Okay, so when you're saying that, I know that you make decisions with some form of logic, which is what I want to bring up. Like, yeah, so when we talk this way, you know, this is part of the bridge that I'm wanting to sort of create somehow, because I know you and I, we're passionate and we know what each other mean, and I know that you make decisions with logic. I know you have. Of course. And I do too. It's more than just about having that balance of emotion and logic, right? Because they can still both be in your head, right? Because emotion, like people can think about emotion. They can think about that rather than feel it. but what I want to say to that is, yeah, just really seconding, to second what you're saying, is to think about the logical parts of the decision, but be inspired. Like, does it give you those butterflies? And you know damn well when it doesn't, because you're too busy, you're so far down the production line of, oh, step one, step two, this is how I'm going to do it, da, 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 da. You're so far down there's no feeling. You're gone, right? Be inspired, because it's that inspiration. That is the inspiration where you're clear. You're coming from zero, and you're not coming from memory. You're coming from a place of zero, inspired, and you're about to create some wisdom. So that's the benefit of doing things when you're inspired to. And this is the beauty of what I'm talking about with Ho'oponopono, is that other people might not be clearing and cleaning and saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Other people might not be doing that, but people like me are. People like all the other practitioners all over the world are. And it's for that reason, whenever one of us does this and embodies this with love and for the greater good, that little ray of sunshine comes down. And then when you're sitting there on a nice summer day, and then that little thought pops into your head to write a book called Get Fucked and Do It Anyway, it's like, boop. Oh. That's because our brothers and sisters around the world are doing that work. Yeah? This work has been done for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it's to the benefit of all of us. And so that's where our inspiration comes from. Sometimes we're not solid on our, our non-spiritual brothers and sisters or whatever might not know about this, but there are people out there that are doing it for them. And so trust that serves.
Definitely does.
Oh shit.
100%.
Cool.
So would you like to share a bit about what you have going on at the moment, and what is coming up in 2019, and where people can find you, what they can do with you?
Maddie, if I knew, I would tell you. I am in the space of clearing and zero and letting. I'm literally in this space. This is why you haven't seen me too much out on Facebook, because otherwise I'll just be talking shit, reciting knowledge. I'm literally waiting for my call, right? And logically, I can afford to do this. They say, be present on Facebook and all the rest of it, and get the marketing done and all that. But I'm waiting for a greater call. And this is how I know it. Because I came up with my concept of the three worlds. And then in the first video of Ho'oponopono, they talk about the three words and the three states of mind. And I was like, yo, just little things, little nuances are coming together. And I know me sharing a part of what I'm doing something. I'm doing more than just speaking to you, Maddie. That's what I'm doing. We've got 5 people here that are asking questions, that are getting curious, that are, that deserve to go out and do their thing. Like, it's just being, and I'm waiting for my call and what we're going to do more and how I'm going to ride this out. But for now, I'm just going to continue working with my clients and give them a more enhanced experience, because I'll be doing my thing. So I've been building my business for the last 2.5 years, and I've been working full time while I've been doing that, and that's coming to an end. So that will be wrapped up around February, and then I'll, be out there in the wind. Our greater plan is to, me and my partners, to build a van, which we're already in the process of doing all of the stuff. Build a van and travel around Australia and New Zealand. So that's what we're up to. So you can, in the future, find me somewhere. But I think my mission is to show people the importance of this modern world, because it is. I'm so thankful for this phone, for Apple, for this tripod, for these glasses, for this hat, for my Bose headphones that's not working on this live. I'm so grateful for this modern world. And then I'm also fucking grateful for my own inner world, what makes me me, and my ability to choose. Because that's the job of my soul, is the ability to choose. That's how I've made it here. Choice, choice, choice. Left or right? Go right. Oh, wrong way. Okay, go try that way. Right? So choice is my inner world. Amongst all my feelings, all my scars, all my blah, la, 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 I have a choice. And that's the power of my inner world. And then I'm thankful for the higher world, because that up there, right, they can do more than we could ever fucking try and do. Ever. And do you know what I mean? And it's like, we play a harder game when we try and think that we got, more insight than that.
Yeah.
That connects everyone. That knows what Maddie B's up to tonight, tomorrow, what I'm up to, how I'm feeling, what my neighbour's doing, is everything. Do you know what I mean? So we want to tap into that. That's the shortcut. And how we do that is to, I love you, I'm sorry, I thank you, clear and allow, and just wait for your call. Wait for that inspiration. Advice for someone starting out as a coach: start.
Yes.
Valerie, whatever you have here today. This is the second time I've shared about Ho'oponopono. If you're inspired to, Valerie, if you're inspired to, you just start sharing, okay? Because if you're sharing it from a place of inspiration, then you're forming your wisdom. And so share what you're inspired to share. Up front, early, you may not do it, but when you do share, it does pay to be embodied, meaning what you have done in the past, what has worked for you, what you're feeling, and what you're inspired to. Because the sooner you can get on to sharing stuff from a place of embodiment, the closer you are, like, obviously you're more inspired. Anyone can open up a book and start regurgitating what it says on there, or reading a paragraph and then pushing go live and then saying what it says. Embody it. Yeah, so you've got the energy and the wisdom behind you. So that's what I would say, is just start. So get a coach. As a coach, up until, if you're starting out, get someone who can help you out. And because the police and the conscious, how we spend all our time doing the safe problem stuff. This is the biggest part of awareness, that we as new coaches, or new anything, right? Whenever we're doing anything new, that's the hardest part, is to try and see where we're doing something that's safe, because we think our patterns are designed to tell us it's the best thing for us. This is going to build your business, rearranging your office, making business cards, getting a website set up. So that is a safe problem, and I'm going to tell you that for free. But we don't know that, because our patterns and our conditioning and our identity are like, no, this is here to keep you. This is here to build your business. But it's not. It's the stuff that is going to touch on the shame cells. That's the stuff. So, and if you get empty, sit with that. Love that. Yeah.
Trust that
Express
serves.
that.
It's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
what you've been doing for me for a long time, is just, getting me to just do it. Just start. Yeah.
Just do it.
So
Just do it.
two things that came to me that were catalysts was, another coach, Christopher Duncan, said just take action, especially when you're not ready. And then Miss Jade Benioni told me to do whatever makes my ass sweat. And those two put together is a lethal force of massive action taking. Yeah.
Can I add this one in here for everyone who's gonna watch this, and for you and for me, Maddie? Because
Absolutely.
if it's come up, then it's for us. Yes, take action. What was the first one? Take action even when you're not ready
Even when you're not ready.
And then do what makes your ass sweat when you're inspired. When you're inspired. Not because you've
Yeah.
calculated that it will create you $1,000 a month. Not because you think that this is all you're capable of doing right now, right? Do it when you're inspired to. You could have the best idea logically, tick all the boxes and it would work. But if you're not feeling it, if you don't have the butterflies over here, and you don't have the get it, don't do it. What
Yeah.
for? Like, this is something I did, and this is full transparency. I ran a 5-day confidence kickstart program. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then I went up into a 21-day program because that was the natural progression and what another coach had done. I didn't like it. I loved it. I put in everything I had, but I wasn't inspired by it. I did it because another coach did it. Yeah?
Yeah.
And it wasn't for me. So you have got, just because, that's what I'm saying, like, even though it looks like it ticks all the boxes, especially when it comes to what other people are doing, you need to be inspired by doing it. Don't, because part of me was like, oh, this is the natural progression to, warm up leads. It's worked for him. Oh, let me check it out. And it didn't. Because why? Because I wasn't inspired to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a massive, massive point. I've read the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins, and it's just that, like, when we try and force things to happen, it's going against that inspiration. Power comes from just letting go and being with what comes up, and it's like a pull into action. You don't have to push anything, you have to force anything, you just get pulled in a direction. It's like, and then people say, like, how do you work so hard? How do you do that? And it's like, well, it's not hard. Like, I'm literally just getting pulled down this path. It's actually, I've got momentum and velocity, and it's effortless. It looks like I'm doing a lot, but I'm actually, effort wise, I don't feel like I'm doing that much because I'm not forcing anything. I'm using the power of the inspiration of the divine decision to pull me down this path, allowing myself to float. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now I just feel compelled to share this because before I became a coach, Maddie B, I think this is going to be useful for a few people because we're talking about the spiritual and then like pragmatic as well. Before I became a coach, as I said, I was doing network marketing. This is a space where I was going through, an interesting time, coming out of a bit of an interesting relationship, and where I really first started to learn that I had the power, like, to do something about myself and not just fucking cry every second night and all the rest of it, and so this space was where I started learning about law of attraction, etc., etc. Now, when I became a coach, this is where a lot of the knowledge came in because I was absorbing so much knowledge about human behavior, about the patterns, about the codes. And what I started to learn as a coach was that there is so much in this inner world of mine and other people's, that what was all this law of attraction stuff about? Like, it was bullshit. That's what I felt. And so I stopped. I gave up. I literally was like, nah, that's just, it's because for 4 years I spent reading you look at my bookshelf and beyond, like, I had every single book you could imagine on law of attraction. I would speak about it, I would teach it, but there was all this stuff in so that's what I would call like the higher world, and then law of attraction is only the tip of the iceberg in the higher world. But then we've also got this inner world that we need to take care of. And then we've got a physical world that we're showing up. So we can't just be a fucking meditating butterfly every day. We actually have to do stuff. Do you know what I mean? So we have to, this bridge that I'm creating is like, mate, you have to take care of all three. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time in this life. Because one, you can't be a meditating butterfly Buddha all day, every day, right? We have to get up off our knees and we have to walk and act. And the same thing is that we can't just be a fucking waiting for the stars to align and waiting for our call every month of the year, because we need to be tapping into we need to be clearing. We need to be loving. And here, we've got all three of these balls to juggle, all three of these worlds to juggle. It's so important. And that's where the bridge is being created. And I've already forgotten why I'm saying all of this, but that's all right. So, yeah. Do you remember the question, Maddie? Because I don't, but I felt like that was powerful.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's like we gotta be in all three. We gotta do all three. Well, we don't have to, but I mean, if you want to live a smarter life, like if you actually want to enjoy life here, that's why I was saying it, is because Matt's at a place where he's probably understands all three of these concepts, and so the mission, and one that I will, I believe I'm here to do, and maybe Matt's got a similar journey as well, is that when people hear like, oh, I just flow and then it comes, I can hear some of my brothers and sisters going, what are you
Yes.
talking
Yeah.
about? Like, no,
Yeah.
like, and then they end it. They'll end the life. They'll stop immersing in it. For our other brothers
Yeah.
and sisters that are in the higher world, they're all like, yeah. But then that could be misconstrued by, I just need to wait for the stars to align and everything will be okay. It all depends. I think we need to have, or then we've got someone who's just in the physical world, and that's no use either, because then that's just playing a really hard game. So I reckon what we want to do together is learn and talk about how all three impact each other. That's my work for 2019. How all three worlds impact.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And I'm interested to see where you go and what comes up, because it's come up a few times for me now as well in conversation, where people have shared with me that this is how they saw me, and I've resonated with it as well, where they felt like I've been like this this bridge between the woo woo hippy dippy airy fairy meditating butterflies, who only really resonate with the other woo woo hippy dippy meditating butterflies when they talk and they open up with their jingles and their bangles and their flowing dresses and their bongo drums. And then the physical world of the entrepreneurs and the money driven personal developing go-getters, and then just having that bridge in between, and so being able to speak to both and encapsulating everyone that's in between there as well. I felt like, and has been mentioned, that just the way that I sort of approach it and deliver it and relatable in that sense is that sort of bridge as well, and that's how I view you as well. Like, you are in touch with all three aspects of the body, and you can speak to such a diverse crowd as well. You can tap into the butterflies, you can tap into the money driven freaks and everyone in between as well, which is really beautiful. And it's I think it is like that energy that we hold, which is going to draw a lot of people together and really be like a driving force, a foundation for building this new movement. Not new, but for building movement around us and in our network anyway, the people that gravitate towards us, to bring together people into this awareness that otherwise would have, exactly what you said, turned off the camera because we said something that they weren't aware of. But those things is like, they're some of the things that seem pie in the sky or that seem so intangible, when you understand them, like, we are speaking so literal. We're speaking so literal, but without that experiential understanding, it seems pie in the sky or woo-woo still. So I'm glad to, so it's interesting.
And I think of my granddad for some reason. When you say that and what's coming up, and just about who you're being, love is love. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean these modern signs, love is love. I mean, love is everything. And you can feel that. You can feel that when it's coming from a place of, this is what I'm here to do. And it's real. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can hear that wisdom.
Yeah.
And as much, if we can clear as much as we can, and then in ourselves to like clear as much of our shit out of the way, which might onto other people, and step in and go, this is what I came here to say. you can listen or not, you know? When you
Yeah.
can stand with that level of conviction rather than just like, all the stuff I see. Not knocking anyone, but it's like, it's just the same old buzzwords. It's like we got to bring more of who we are. Do you know what I mean? Like who
Yeah.
we are into the conversation. Who we are,
Yeah.
not just what we know.
I think it's letting go of that attachment to the outcome. Like what I'm feeling is coming up for you, and what I see in the same sort of people, if I'm getting you right, is that people are so attached to, yeah, like nurturing the clients or getting the results or getting sales or having the impact or teaching this certain thing, and instead of it being an open expression and a creative outlet for them to bestow and to express their love to the universe and the world, and let that energy out, it's for this tangible sort of random thing that they've attached to. And when we do actually just come from that creativity, it's sort of this mindset, that an awareness that no matter what I build and what I create, whether it's a relationship or a painting or a conversation or whatever, or a child, everything that I create is going to die. And I'm not creating it for the sole purpose to get accolade or to get attention or to get this or money or that, whatever. I'm creating it because I know that even if it's only for my own knowledge, this is the greatest gift that I can give to the world. And I had a conversation with a friend, actually. She's an amazing drawer, and she doesn't do it enough, right? But I shared with her, like, even if you don't go and sell your drawings, you don't put it out there, just the fact that you do that on a regular basis and you express that creativity and you pour that love out of yourself, right? Your nature as you walk through the world in amongst the people around you, that's just going to emanate off them. Like you're gonna be so in love with the world and what you're doing because you've been creating, that those images that you draw, even though you're the only one that might ever see them, the energy that is going to permeate off you throughout the people around you and your community in the world is just is amazing. And so that, yeah, I don't know,
Love it.
amazing
Yeah.
place to be in. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I feel your friend around that. I draw a lot, and I do it for myself. It's like my form of meditation. So I absolutely understand what you mean. There is a love when it comes to that creativity. And what you're saying, Matt, is that when you do something, you do it from a place of love. But a lot of us, when we start out, we're doing it with a place of, oh, we need to get ahead, like we've got to keep up in the race.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, for a certain point of
Yeah.
time, you need to build those muscles, and then there becomes a choice, right? Everything is choice. Everything is choice. We can we can build up our muscles in marketing and sales and business to a certain point, and then we can choose. We can listen. Is this fulfilling? And this is one thing I want to share with you. When I said I stopped associating with law of attraction and the universe and linking that into my coachings, I noticed that in the physical, this was me creating my physical world and my physical results, physical clients from my physical world. How many sessions do I need to have? How many chats do I need to have? How many blah do I need to have? Blah 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 blah. How many hours do I need to put in? All physical. Then when I got there, okay, now what systems, processes, blah. And there was some inner work, don't get me wrong. But the emphasis was on the physical. And what systems do I need to use for marketing? What systems do I need to use for sales? Da 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 da. And do. And then my inner world work was reactive to begin with. It was reactive.
Uh-huh.
Some shit comes
Yeah.
up, and I'm like, ooh, better do my inner work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
but I knew it was working. I knew there was something there. Then it became apparent that I was playing a hard game, and that there was more to it. And when I surrendered
Okay, so my internet just dropped out, so apologies for that. Yeah, all right, well, let's just jump on. It might be,
I'm here.
hey,
I was
sorry
like,
about that, my
oh,
internet just dropped out.
no, you're all right. You're okay. Okay, so we're back
Pivotal
on, right?
point. Yeah,
Awesome. Cool. So I'm happy to talk because I think people are getting some good value out of this. I'm
yeah,
sweating like
yeah,
anything.
same.
So
It is toasty.
it's worth it. Do what makes you sweat, right? Whew, love it. So, yeah, what was I? Let me carry on from that, Matt. Can I just pick up where I left off?
Yeah, please.
So, yeah, my inner work was reactive, and not by intention. It's just I didn't know any better, and
Yeah,
and this is part of the journey, right? It's part of the journey. Like, please don't look at Matt or I and think, oh, because we've got some hits on the board. You've got to come in and get it done like that on our level. Like, what even is that? Like, my level's messy as fuck. His level's messy as hell. You know what I mean? Everyone's levels are messy, and just be in your own
yeah,
mess, and figure that out. So my inner work was very reactive, but I knew every time I ran into a barrier, it was me. So I needed to work on that. Now, what I did notice by about October this year was that um, the just doing it my way in the physical world, it was too hard.
yeah.
And my coach sat me down before I went to Mexico, and he said, "Hey, how would you like to earn another $5,000 before for spending money before you go?" And took me through the EFT process again, which I was rejecting because I didn't want any of that spiritual stuff. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's something biting me, but anyway, a spider or something. That's cool.
Spider
Can you
back.
just be? Yeah, can you just be gone? Um, so I said, oh, you know what? Okay, we'll give it a go. And so 2 weeks before I went to Mexico, and it was the process. This is why I'm saying no matter what the higher process is, whether it's what I'm talking about, ho'oponopono, I love you, thank you, please forgive me, or whether it's, tapping EFT, whether it's affirmations, whether it's meditation, whatever it is, okay, that you've been learning about, and that you're inspired to carry out, trust the process, okay? Get you some of your daily dose into your higher world, and let that shine through. Because what I notice is that I made a lot of sales coming from the physical space, but fuck, it took a lot of work. It was
Yeah,
hours and hours and hours of work. It was energy. Like, my back would literally ring and throb to the point where I was working way too hard to make this happen. And I was being stubborn. Because, I wanted to map this all the way out because, that law of attraction shit, it didn't work. And I mean, law of attraction without a few other dimensions, yeah, it's kind of pointless. But you've got to, that's why the need for all three. That's why the balance
yeah,
for all three is very important. I mean, even the people who were in The Secret said it's missing way too much, which is correct. It's law of attraction without some other things. You got to get
yeah,
that inspiration. So when I decided, all right, creating income sales, it's effective, but it's taking up too much energy. I decided I'll give it a go. I'll trust the process. I will trust love. That was what the session was about. I will trust love, because this was my coach going, I, loving me and saying, here, let's do this. And I'm like, nah, because I'm rejecting love. I'm rejecting him. I was rebelling against him with his little spiritual process and growth that he's come into. And then I had to decide to trust the process. Well, before I went to Mexico, I made more than I did in my job in 2 weeks. And every day I would sit down and I would do the tapping process. And I'd get halfway through and I'd be like, you fucking idiot, what are you doing? Like, ugh. And then I would just breathe. And then I would tap, 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 tap. And the belief, and then I would make it through that one. And then I would sit down when another belief come up and I'd tap and I'd be like, oh, this is so fucking awkward. And then, but that's what you need to do. Like, what do you think that getting into spirituality is all like, when you first start out? No, you feel like a wanker, right? When you first start,
you fucking do.
You do, and it's okay. And part of my thing was like I was judging myself for having given up on it. So now here I am back at it again, and of course, part of me was going to be like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
But it's trust the process. You must. And I made in 2 weeks' time, I made more sales in 2 weeks than I would in a month of my salary of my job. And I went to Mexico and I had a fucking great time. I bought this hat and it was great. And I just didn't even look at the price tag. I was like, yep, give me that hat. Because that's what I could do. I could experience that abundance because I had stopped for a moment trying to be a fucking hero and do it all myself and tap into that. That's what I did. So, yes, it was useful for me to know how to market effectively, sell effectively, because that definitely helped in that process. But that was it.
Yeah.
That was the majority of my work was sitting in my room going, tap, 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 fucking wanker. Oh gosh, tap, tap, tap. Okay, you can do this. You can trust the process. Get back on the bike. Tap, tap, tap. Get back on the bike. Tap, tap, tap. Yeah, that was just one process that I went through. And that was me getting my dosage of tapping into divinity, higher spirituality, my ancestors, whatever. Yeah, just bring some form of it in. So they're there to help you. Everyone's here to help. Everyone is connected, and the love is here to help. We just got to let it.
So much, 100%. Yeah, that's beautiful. One of my first mentors I ever had that was the leader of a multi-level marketing company, actually, who was really well off. This old guy, Eugene Piccinotti. He was like an angel. But yeah, I remember him doing the tapping and telling me about it. That was the first time I experienced it. I don't know. It's just the energy and the love that come from certain people. Like there's a secret there. There's something that they're doing. There's something that they've tapped into that's different to the everyday Joe Blow.
Love.
Yeah, that's it.
Love.
100%.
So it wasn't EFT, right? It wasn't EFT. There was a bit of a backstory to this, but I was rejecting love in my coach because he had grown in a spiritual way, and that's not how we had rolled for the last year, because that fulfilled my memories of law of attraction doesn't work, and he was all about that don't work. So together we were fine. As soon as he stepped out and went on his growth, just like I'm doing now, right? And my clients will probably be like, fuck's she on about all this? Pono, what's she doing? Yeah, what? Like, just teach me how to sell, just teach me how to blah. When he was going through that growth spurt for himself, I was like, what are you doing, dude? You're breaking this arrangement. And really what I was doing was that he was moving closer to love, and I didn't want love in that moment. I didn't want it, so I rejected him. But when I trust the process, because I knew enough, I was smart, I had enough knowledge to sink a boat. And when I felt into it and thought about it, and when I had a coach that held space for me, and said, you can say whatever you want to me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not hanging up. You can call me every name under the sun. You can, you can take your wrath and your everything out on me. And I did. And he stood there and love and just gave love, because that's what was needed in the moment. I decided to trust the process of love, and that's when the EFT was accepted in. I haven't done it much anymore, again, but because it was just in that moment, that's how I was tapping into love. And then I was allowed to feel that in myself, which now I can feel it in myself, hence why I don't really do EFT all that much. So it's just about, you tap into love. And I mean, it's as easy as just sitting there going, I love you, I love you, I love you, straight up. That will move mountains. Saying that will move mountains. You can tap, you can go through the spiral, you can meditate, you can watch whatever, just love grounds you and connects you to that.
It does, yeah. It's a bit of a measuring stick almost, with some people that I get to go and stand in front of the mirror and shower love on themselves, and just to see how it makes them feel.
Yeah.
And too many of us aren't able even to do that once, to say it once to ourselves. It's phenomenal, but essentially that's what we're doing. That's what we're sharing. That's why we're here. That's what it's all about, is just sharing that love.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has been an awesome afternoon and an awesome chat. I really loved it. And for everyone, hey Katie, for everyone that's jumped on and like held space with us. Like, we've had an epic round the table. This has been fucking great. Yeah. Any more questions, Matt Banks?
No, I think just let people know where they can find you, where they can reach out and connect with you. I think so they know who you are, where you are, and just how they can stay in touch and keep absorbing your love and your awesomeness.
Yeah, thanks, Matt Banks. I do realise you asked me that 20 minutes ago.
That's all right.
So you can find me just on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me, just add me as a friend, and this will unfold. Like, my journey in 2019 will unfold. I can't tell you much about what I'm doing, but you can feel it. That's all.
Absolutely.
Because all I've been doing in this live is just listening to what Matt Banks is saying, listening to your questions, and then tapping into that, to my genius, to this wisdom, right, that I have and that I can share. And the Jade a year and a half ago would not be saying that I got wisdom and genius. Do you know what I mean? So for those of you that want to start, because you do get here. Yeah? You put in, if you're working a job, you work those late nights. That's what you do. If you have kids, then you work later nights. After you've done job, after you've done kids, after you've done, you do you. And where you can find me is, Facebook. I'll be no doubt expressing when I'm inspired to. I've got a 5-day confidence kickstart program that's probably going to be changing in some way, shape or form, just based on what I'm inspired to. Everything's moving. So everything is moving. So I think the best place, if you're digging it, add me on Facebook. Jade. Oh, my bad. You good?
Yep, you're back.
Okay, cool.
So start again from the 5-day kickstart.
5-day kickstart confidence. I forgot the name of it, but you can just add me on Facebook. Everything is changing. Things will change in 2019 for me, 120%. And add me on Facebook. Keep in touch. Yeah, let's just be humans.
Let's do that. Epic ones at that.
Let's just do that. Yeah, and I mean, like, I just realized how much I'm just feeling this, right? The energy of the last hour and a half is what it is. I don't need to say where I'll be. You'll find me if you wanna chat.
100%. That's it. I love it. I love it so much. I love you so much. Thank you for
I love you,
everything. It's amazing. Have an amazing Boxing Day. Everyone, thanks for hanging out. It's been yet another epic Daily B show. And I'm looking forward to, exactly the same. Just being me and inspiring others to just be themselves as well, as much as they possibly can, and to the best of their abilities, to expose and, express themselves, evolve consciously, and just believe in yourself. So it's really, really awesome. And let's roll into 2019, moonwalk our ways up there.
Moonwalk! Yes. Oh, can I add one thing, Maddie B?
Let's finish with that. Go.
The name of your show, the Daily B show. When I was looking at the post you tagged me in with the big bumblebee, I realized that is the symbol for which is my grandmother. She's passed on, Grandma Rose, but she comes back in the form of a bumblebee. So whenever we're around, a bumblebee will be around randomly, and it'll be her.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I was looking at your thing today, and I'm like, oh, that's Grandma. And yeah, I knew that after I did my clearing, I knew that would have a really cool, useful chat that would serve other people on a higher level, on an internal level, and also to get them inspired in their business and their external world. So yeah, thank you so much, Matty B. Loved you. Thanks, ladies, and everyone for being on. It's been cool.
Thank you again. Thanks, Jade. Chat soon, guys. Enjoy your Boxing Day.
Woo! Ciao!